The airport was humming with the low murmur of departures, rolling suitcases, echoing announcements, and the rhythm of goodbyes swallowed by glass and steel. Chloe adjusted her beige blazer, her eyes heavy from the red-eye flight. She just wanted to get home, take a shower, and forget the last 48 hours that had torn her heart apart. When the black suitcase circled in front of her, she didn't think twice. She grabbed it and walked away, her heels tapping against the polished floor, unaware of the mistake that would soon turn her life into a storm. Behind her at the baggage carousel, Michael, a millionaire CEO known for never losing control, stood frozen, scanning the rotating belts. His suitcase was gone, the one that held not just his clothes, but a secret so powerful it could destroy everything he had built. As Chloe disappeared through the automatic doors, sunlight poured over her face. A symbol of freedom she didn't yet know was borrowed, because by the time she unzipped that suitcase, it would already be too late. Before we begin this emotional story, tell us in the comments from which city you are watching. And don't forget to leave your like to keep following us. Rain was starting to fall when Chloe's cab turned onto the narrow street lined with quiet suburban houses outside Chicago. The air smelled like wet asphalt and jet fuel, the last trace of the airport still clinging to her clothes. She paid the driver, thanked him softly, and dragged the black suitcase up the steps of her small porch. Her hand trembled a little, part exhaustion, part nerves. She hadn't been home in months. Inside, the apartment felt colder than she remembered. The clock blinked 3:42 a.m., and the only sound was the hum of the refrigerator. Chloe placed the suitcase near the couch and stared at it for a moment. Something about it felt different. Maybe it was just her mind, fogged by the long flight. She took a deep breath, poured herself some water, and turned on the small kitchen light. When she finally opened the suitcase, the world seemed to stop breathing. It wasn't her clothes inside. Instead, she found a perfectly folded charcoal suit, a sleek watch still ticking in its case, and a thick black envelope sealed with gold initials, ML. Her eyes widened. For a moment, she thought she'd made some mistake at baggage claim, that maybe someone else's luggage had brushed against hers. But no, she'd been sure. Or at least she thought she was. She sat down slowly, fingers tracing the golden seal on the envelope. Curiosity wrestled with fear. What if this belonged to some millionaire CEO, the kind that travels first class and fires people through assistance? She laughed nervously at the thought. "Relax, Chloe," she whispered to herself. "Just call the airline in the morning." But then something slipped out from under the clothes. A flash drive, small and metallic, wrapped in a hotel receipt from Los Angeles. Her name was nowhere on it. Her pulse quickened. Whoever owned this suitcase wasn't just wealthy. He was careful. She hesitated for several minutes before plugging the drive into her old laptop. The screen flickered. Then came a list of files, all password protected, each labeled with company names she didn't recognize. Rexon Biotech, Dana & Cole Holdings, Project Elysium. The kind of things whispered about in boardrooms, not living rooms. Chloe pulled her hands back like the keyboard had burned her. She slammed the laptop shut and paced the room. Maybe this was illegal. Maybe she'd stumbled into something she shouldn't have. But a part of her, the part that had been humiliated and laid off by her old boss 6 months ago, couldn't help wondering what kind of man carried secrets like these in a suitcase. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. She turned off the lights and sat by the window, watching the rain streak down the glass. The suitcase sat open beside her, its owner unknown, its contents whispering stories she didn't yet understand. And somewhere across the city, in a hotel suite overlooking the skyline, Michael Lawson, the millionaire CEO, stared at his own reflection, realizing his most dangerous secret was gone. The clock struck 4, and Chloe had no idea that by this time tomorrow, 30 police cars would surround her house. Morning sunlight crawled across the wooden floor, warming the half-empty coffee cup beside Chloe's laptop. She hadn't slept. The suitcase remained open, mocking her with its neat perfection. Every few minutes she'd glance at the black envelope, still sealed, still heavy with questions. She told herself to be rational. Call the airline, return it, forget it. But as she reached for her phone, something on the envelope caught her eye. A faint embossed pattern behind the initials. She tilted it toward the light. It wasn't decoration. It was a logo. Rexon Biotech, the same name she'd seen in one of the locked files on the flash drive. Her hand froze mid-air. That company had been all over the news last month. A pharmaceutical giant accused of hiding data from cancer trials. She remembered watching the story on her cracked TV screen, thinking how people like that played with lives while the rest of the world barely survived. Now somehow she had their name sitting in her living room. The phone buzzed suddenly, making her flinch. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Miss Harris?" The voice was calm, male, controlled. "This is the airline. We believe there was a baggage mix-up last night. May I confirm your address for pickup?" Relief flooded her chest. "Oh, thank God, yes. I think I have someone else's suitcase." "That's quite all right," the man continued smoothly. "We'll send someone shortly. Please don't open anything inside, for security reasons." Something about the tone made her pause. Too precise, too careful. "Who's the owner?" she asked. A small silence. Then, softly, "Just someone who values his privacy, Miss Harris. Please stay home." The line went dead. Her stomach tightened, the words echoed. "Stay home, not we'll send a courier, not please drop it off, just stay home." Chloe stepped back from the window. Across the street, a black SUV idled, engine running. Its windows were tinted so dark she couldn't see inside. A shiver ran down her spine. Maybe it was paranoia. Maybe not. She grabbed the suitcase and pulled it closer. The envelope, the flash drive, the suit. Everything inside felt like evidence. Her thoughts spiraled. What if this isn't just a mix-up? What if someone's already looking for it? The sound of a car door slamming outside made her heart race. She peered through the blinds. A man in a black coat stepped out of the SUV, phone to his ear. He wasn't wearing an airline badge. Chloe's breath hitched. She backed away from the window, clutching the suitcase handle like a lifeline. She didn't know why, but instinct screamed run. Then, 3 sharp knocks on the door. "Miss Harris?" a deep voice called. "We're here for the luggage." Her pulse pounded in her ears. She didn't move. The suitcase's metal zipper glinted under the light, silent, waiting. Outside, the man knocked again. Harder. "Miss Harris, please open the door." She swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. Not today. And as she slipped out the back door, the first drops of rain began to fall again, the kind that washes away footprints but not consequences. The rain turned into a curtain of silver as Chloe slipped into the alley behind her house, clutching the suitcase with both hands. Her shoes splashed through puddles, the city still half asleep. She didn't know where she was going, just away. Away from the SUV, from the knocks, from that calm voice that didn't sound like anyone from an airline. By the time she reached the old train station, her hair was soaked, sticking to her face. She ducked under the shelter, breathing hard, her reflection flickering in a puddle at her feet. She tried to think. Her best friend, Mia, lived across town. Maybe she could hide there until she figured this out. She opened her phone and typed a quick message. "Mia, I need to see you, it's urgent." Then she hesitated and deleted it. What if someone was tracking her calls? It sounded insane, yet so did a stranger's suitcase filled with sealed envelopes and hidden drives. From the corner of her eye, she noticed a man in a dark hoodie standing near the ticket machines. He wasn't buying a ticket. He was watching her. When she looked directly at him, he turned away too quickly. Her heart lurched. She gripped the suitcase tighter and boarded the first train that arrived. Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed softly. A young mother rocked her baby in the corner. A man in a business suit dozed off by the window. Normal people, ordinary lives. Chloe envied them all. She slid into a seat and tried to calm her thoughts. Maybe she was overreacting. Maybe that man really was from the airline. But then her phone vibrated again. No number, just a text. "Do not open the envelope. You're being followed." Chloe froze. Every sound on the train became sharper. The wheels clattering, the faint murmur of passengers, her own heartbeat drumming against her ribs. She glanced around. The man in the hoodie had boarded too. The train slowed at the next stop. Chloe bolted. She ran up the wet stairs into the street, the suitcase thudding behind her. Her lungs burned, her mind raced. She turned a corner, ducked into a coffee shop, and hid near the back entrance. Steam from the espresso machine curled into the air. She tried to steady her breathing, blending with the crowd. Then that same man stepped in, calm, scanning, not in a rush, just looking, searching. Her trembling fingers brushed the golden seal again. Every instinct screamed that the answer and the danger were both inside, but opening it now could mean crossing a line she couldn't return from. The doorbell chimed as another man entered, older, wearing a long black coat. He whispered something to the barista, then glanced directly at her table. Chloe's throat went dry. She realized this wasn't about a suitcase anymore. This was about what was inside it, something that powerful men were desperate to retrieve. She grabbed the suitcase and slipped through the emergency exit into the rain, vanishing into the blur of the city. Somewhere across town, Michael Lawson stood in his glass office, staring at his reflection once again. But this time, his expression wasn't composed. It was fear. By the time Chloe reached Mia's apartment on the south side, her clothes clung to her skin like second thoughts. The rain had turned into mist, soft but relentless. She knocked 3 times, her breath uneven. Mia opened the door, her eyes widening. "Chloe, what the hell happened to you?" I took the wrong suitcase," Chloe stammered, stepping inside. "But it's not just that. There's something inside it. I think someone's following me." Mia frowned, grabbing a towel. "Okay, slow down. What's in the suitcase?" Chloe placed it on the couch, unzipped it halfway, and showed her the envelope and the flash drive. "This. I shouldn't even be touching it." Mia's eyebrows shot up. "Girl, this looks like something out of a spy movie. Did you open the envelope?" "No, but the drive, it has files with names of companies. Big ones. Rexon Biotech, Danner & Cole, and something called Project Elysium." At that, Mia's smile faded. "Wait, Rexon Biotech. Isn't that the company you interviewed with last year? The one that ghosted you after the final round?" Chloe blinked. "What?" Mia grabbed her phone, pulling up an old email thread. "You told me the guy from HR said they'd moved forward with a different candidate. You were devastated for weeks. Chloe, if this suitcase belongs to someone connected to them..." The room fell silent. The implications began to settle like fog. Meanwhile, in a skyscraper miles away, Michael Lawson stood in front of a wall of screens. The feed showed grainy images. A woman running through the rain, her face half hidden by shadows. "Chloe." He clenched his jaw. "Find her before they do," he ordered sharply. His assistant hesitated. "Sir, if the police get involved..." "They can't," he snapped. "If that drive leaks, it's not just my company at risk. It's every contract tied to Project Elysium." Back in Mia's apartment, Chloe's phone buzzed again. This time it was a news alert. "Federal investigation reopens into Rexon Biotech CEO's missing data files." Her stomach dropped. "Mia," she whispered, "I think this isn't just about a suitcase. This might be evidence." Mia looked at her best friend, terrified but trying to stay calm. "Then we need to go to the police." "No," Chloe said immediately, shaking her head. "If this man really is the millionaire CEO connected to Rexon, the police might already be working for him." They stared at each other, 2 women in a small, dim apartment, holding something that could destroy a fortune. A loud bang echoed outside. Both of them froze. Mia peered through the blinds. "Chloe, someone's out there." 2 silhouettes stood across the street under the rain, motionless, watching the window. Chloe's heart hammered in her chest. "We have to leave, now." She zipped the suitcase shut, grabbed her purse, and took one last look around the room. For a brief second, she wondered what kind of life the man behind those gold initials lived, and what secret could make powerful people chase her like this. She didn't know that the secret wasn't about money. It was about a life that was never supposed to exist. The sky over Chicago turned a bruised gray as morning pushed through the rain. Chloe and Mia hid in an old diner on the outskirts of the city, the kind of place where no one asked questions and the smell of burnt coffee masked fear. The suitcase sat between them in the booth, like a third presence, silent, dangerous, waiting. Mia stirred her cup nervously. "We can't keep running, Chloe. Someone's going to find us." "I just need time," Chloe murmured, her fingers tracing the gold initials on the envelope. "ML. If I can understand what this is, maybe I can prove I didn't steal anything." Mia looked around the diner. Two men in suits sat by the counter, pretending to read newspapers. Their shoes were too polished for a place like this. "Time," she whispered, "is the one thing you don't have." Chloe followed her gaze. Her throat tightened. "You think they're here for me?" Mia's voice dropped to a tremble. "They haven't touched their food." The doorbell jingled as another man walked in, older, with a badge flashing briefly under his coat. A cop. He scanned the room slowly, eyes landing on Chloe. Panic flared. Chloe grabbed the suitcase. "Let's go." They slipped out the back, pushing through the kitchen and into the rain-soaked alley. Steam rose from the ground as they ran, heartbeats colliding with the sound of sirens in the distance. Across town, Michael Lawson was pacing inside his penthouse office, sleeves rolled up, eyes bloodshot from a sleepless night. His assistant entered quietly. "Sir, they've found her location." Michael stopped. "The police?" She hesitated. "No, sir. Someone else." His expression darkened. He reached for his phone. "Patch me through to the police chief. Tell him if he wants his campaign funded next year, he'll find that suitcase before it goes public." Back in the alley, Chloe and Mia reached the edge of the street. The wail of sirens was closer now, too close. Police lights flickered off wet asphalt, bouncing against the brick walls. "They found us," Mia whispered. Chloe looked around desperately. There's no way out. The first police cruiser turned the corner, tires screeching, then another, then 5 more. Within seconds, the alley was bathed in flashing red and blue. "Hands where we can see them!" A voice boomed through a loudspeaker. Mia's knees went weak. "Chloe, what did you do?" Chloe's voice broke. "I didn't do anything." But as officers poured out of their cars, guns drawn, Chloe realized this wasn't an arrest and it was a message. Someone wanted the world to see her as guilty before she could even speak. The suitcase felt heavier now, as if it carried not just secrets but punishment. Rain poured down harder, sirens blaring, voices shouting. Chloe lifted her trembling hands, her eyes locked on the flashing lights reflecting off the wet pavement. She whispered to Mia, her voice barely audible, "I swear, I didn't steal from him." And then, a single shout cut through the chaos. "Don't move. She's got the CEO's property." The world tilted. Chloe's heart shattered. How could they know? Because the man who told them was Michael Lawson himself. Red and blue lights flickered across Chloe's pale face as officers pulled her from the rain and pinned her against the squad car. Her hair clung to her cheeks, mascara bleeding into the downpour. She tried to speak, but the words drowned under the chaos. "Please, I didn't steal anything, I swear." A cop yanked the suitcase from her hand and set it on the hood. Another officer opened it, gloved fingers moving with mechanical precision. When the envelope appeared, sealed with those golden initials, the lead detective's expression shifted from focus to disbelief. "What's inside this, ma'am?" Chloe shook her head, voice cracking. "I don't know. I found it. It's not mine." Mia screamed from behind a barricade of officers. "She's telling the truth." But her voice vanished under the sirens and shouts. The detective sliced the seal with a pocket knife and pulled out a thick stack of documents, signatures, ledgers, photographs. Every page was stamped confidential, Rexon Biotech. The man's jaw tightened. "These are federal. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Tears mixed with rain. "I told you. I didn't." Before she could finish, another car arrived. Sleek, black, the kind that doesn't belong to police. The door opened and Michael Lawson stepped out, flanked by 2 men in suits. The chaos seemed to pause. He looked immaculate, dark suit, crisp tie, eyes like ice. His presence alone bent the scene around him. Officers straightened, cameras turned. Chloe froze. "That's him," she whispered. "That's the man whose suitcase I took." Michael approached slowly, eyes fixed on her, as if studying a problem he couldn't solve. "Miss Harris," he said quietly, his voice deep, deliberate. "You've caused quite a stir. I didn't mean to. It was an accident." He cut her off with a raised hand. "Do you have any idea what was inside that suitcase?" She stared at him, shaking her head. "No, just papers. And a flash drive." His jaw flexed. "Then you've already seen too much." The officers exchanged glances. One of them whispered something to the detective, who frowned, but didn't move. Michael leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Those files weren't supposed to exist, and now because of you, they do." Chloe blinked, her voice trembling. "What does that even mean?" But Michael didn't answer. He turned to the detective. "I'll take it from here." The detective stiffened. "Sir, this is an active investigation. I said I'll take it from here." His tone left no room for negotiation. Chloe stared in disbelief as the officers hesitated, then stepped back. Money, power, and silence wrapped around him like armor. Michael turned back to her. "You're coming with me." She shook her head. "I'm not going anywhere with you." He leaned closer, his words a quiet threat. "If you don't, you'll be charged with corporate espionage and theft of classified material. You'll never see daylight again. But if you cooperate, maybe I can fix this." For the first time, Chloe saw something flicker behind his coldness, exhaustion, maybe even fear. He wasn't just angry. He was cornered. Rain pooled under the flashing lights. Chloe's heart pounded as she looked at the man before her, the millionaire CEO who held her fate in his hands. Finally, she whispered, "What are you hiding?" Michael's eyes darkened. Something that was never meant to be found. And as he opened the car door for her, the reflection of 30 police cars shimmered on the wet street, witnesses to a secret about to be revealed. The car sped through the wet streets, sirens fading behind them like ghosts. Chloe sat in the back seat beside Michael Lawson, her wrists trembling from the cold and fear. The city lights smeared across the tinted windows, each one a blur of orange and blue. She finally spoke, her voice low but sharp. "How you had the police surround my house for a mistake you made. What are you so afraid I'll find in that suitcase?" Michael didn't answer at first. He loosened his tie, staring out the window. "You think this is about a suitcase?" he said softly. "You have no idea what's inside those files." "Then tell me." He turned toward her, his expression unreadable. 3 years ago, Rexon Biotech developed a serum under the name Project Elysium. It was meant to regenerate damaged cells, cure degenerative diseases, but it wasn't ready. The data showed massive failures and deaths. My board wanted to bury it. I refused. Chloe blinked, confused. "So you tried to expose it?" "I tried to shut it down," he said, his jaw tightening. "But someone leaked false reports saying the trials were a success. Stocks soared. Investors doubled down. And He hesitated, his voice cracking for the first time. "I lost control. The people I trusted turned it into a weapon." Chloe frowned. "And those files?" "They're proof," he said. "Every forged signature, every bribed official. If they reach the wrong hands, they could destroy what's left of my company. But if they reach the right ones," he paused, "they could destroy the people who did this." Silence filled the car. The air felt thick. Chloe looked down at her wet hands. "So you sent the police after me? You made me look like a criminal to protect your image." Michael met her eyes. "No, I sent them because they were already looking for you. The people who buried those trials, the same ones watching me. You were never supposed to touch that suitcase, Miss Harris. Now they think you're part of me." Her heartbeat quickened. "Why didn't you just go to the FBI?" He gave a bitter laugh. "Do you really think the FBI isn't already owned by men like them?" The car slowed as it turned onto a long, deserted road outside the city. Fog wrapped the trees like a curtain. Ahead stood a private airstrip, a small jet waiting under the rain. Chloe's voice trembled. "Where are you taking me?" "To someone who can help clear your name," Michael said. "But once you step onto that plane, there's no turning back." She leaned closer, searching his face. "Why are you helping me now?" He looked at her for a long moment, then said quietly, "Because the woman who died in those trials, her name was also Chloe." Her breath caught. "She was my sister," he whispered, "and I swore no one would ever forget her name again." The engine idled in the rain. Chloe stared at him, her mind spinning, her fear slowly transforming into something else, understanding, maybe even empathy. But before she could speak, headlights flared behind them, dozens of them. Michael's head snapped toward the rearview mirror. "No," he muttered. "They found us." A flood of black SUVs turned onto the airstrip road, engines roaring like thunder. He looked at her, urgency in his voice now. You wanted to know the truth, Chloe. Now you'll see who the real criminals are. And as the first SUV skidded to a stop, armed men stepping into the rain, Chloe realized the real danger had never been the millionaire CEO sitting beside her. It was the Empire hunting them both. Rain fell in heavy sheets across the airstrip as the black SUVs screeched to a halt behind them. Doors burst open, and men in tactical gear poured out like shadows, their movements precise, rehearsed. Headlights carved the fog into gold and white streaks. Michael slammed the car into reverse, tires spinning in the mud. "Hold on!" Chloe gripped the seat, heart hammering. The jet ahead loomed like a promise of escape, but the distance between them and freedom felt impossible. Bullets cracked through the night, sharp metallic reel. The rear window shattered, glass exploding like stars. "Who are they?" Chloe shouted. Michael's voice was tight, focused. "Private security, Rexon's people. They want the files." "Then give it to them." He shot her a look. "You still don't understand. If they get it back, everyone who died for this stays buried." The car spun sideways, engine roaring. Michael grabbed the suitcase from the back seat and handed it to her. "If something happens to me, you run to the plane. There's a pilot who knows where to take you." "What? No, I'm not leaving you here." He smiled faintly, rain running down his face. "You weren't supposed to be part of this. But maybe fate decided you should be." A flash of light. Another gunshot. The front tire blew out. The car swerved violently, skidding into a ditch. Steam hissed from under the hood. Michael kicked the door open and pulled Chloe out, shielding her from the rain with his arm. Shouts echoed from the SUVs. They were closing in. "Over there!" someone yelled. Michael grabbed her hand. "Run!" They sprinted toward the hangar, the suitcase heavy in Chloe's grip. Every step felt like running through water. Her lungs burning, shoes slipping in the mud. Behind them, engines roared and voices thundered. A spotlight snapped on, cutting through the rain. The light hit them both, blinding. "Drop the case, Lawson," a man's voice bellowed through a megaphone. "It's over." Michael stopped, chest heaving. Chloe looked at him, eyes wide. "Please don't." He turned slowly toward the light. "It's never over," he murmured. Then he raised his voice, calling out into the storm. "You think this ends with me? You think truth dies that easily?" The man behind the megaphone hesitated. For a heartbeat, even the rain seemed to stop. Then Michael pressed something into Chloe's hand, a small silver flash drive. "That's the real copy," he whispered. "Whatever happens, don't let them take it. Get on that plane." "Michael!" But before she could finish, a deafening crack split the air. Michael stumbled backward, a dark bloom spreading across his shirt. Chloe screamed, catching him before he fell. He looked up at her through the rain, his voice barely a breath. "Make sure they pay." His eyes flickered once and went still. Chloe's world shattered. The men were shouting again, rushing forward. She clutched the flash drive, her heart a storm of grief and fury. Somewhere deep inside, fear melted into resolve. She ran, through the rain, past the broken lights, toward the plane. Bullets tore the ground near her feet, sirens wailing behind her. She didn't look back. Not when the engines roared, not when the city lights disappeared beneath the clouds. For the first time since she picked up that suitcase, Chloe Harris wasn't running from something. She was running toward the truth. The hum of the jet engines faded into a low whisper as dawn painted the horizon in shades of silver and rose. Chloe sat by the window, wrapped in a blanket the pilot had given her. Her hands were still trembling, the flash drive resting cold in her palm. Outside, clouds drifted past like ghosts. She didn't cry. Not yet. Her body was too numb to process what had happened. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Michael falling, his voice echoing, "Make sure they pay." The pilot, an older man with weary eyes, broke the silence. "We'll be landing soon, ma'am. Mr. Lawson said if anything ever happened, I should take you to Boston." "Boston?" she murmured. He nodded. "There's a journalist waiting there, someone he trusted." Chloe turned back to the window. The sky stretched endlessly ahead, but she felt trapped between two worlds. The woman who used to clean offices for a living, and the one who now carried a secret powerful enough to topple empires. When the plane landed, she stepped out into the pale morning light. The air smelled like rain and salt from the nearby harbor. A woman in her 40s waited by a black sedan, holding an umbrella. "You must be Chloe," she said. "I'm Erin Cole. Michael told me about you." Chloe's chest tightened. "He's gone." Erin's expression softened. "I know." She motioned for her to get in. "Come. You're not safe yet." They drove through quiet streets until they reached an old brownstone overlooking the water. Inside, Erin led her to a desk cluttered with folders and half-empty coffee cups. "This is what Michael was trying to finish," she said, sliding a laptop toward her. "You have the last piece." Chloe hesitated, then handed her the flash drive. "He said it would prove everything." Erin nodded, inserting it carefully. "If what's in here matches what he sent me before, this will expose every cover-up Rexon ever made." As the files loaded, Chloe finally saw them. Thousands of pages, trial results, payment records, patient lists. And then she froze. One of the names stared back at her in bold letters. Chloe Harris. Her breath caught. That's me." Erin frowned. "Wait, this can't be right. These are medical records from Project Elysium's early trials." Chloe leaned closer, her pulse racing. Her mother's signature was on the consent form, her own birth date listed below. Erin's voice dropped. "He wasn't protecting himself, Chloe. He was protecting you." Chloe's mind spun. The world blurred around her. Michael's words replayed in her memory, something that was never meant to be found. Tears finally came, slow and silent. "He knew," she whispered. "All this time, he knew who I was." Erin placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "He tried to undo what they did. You were part of that project, one of the few who survived." Outside, police sirens wailed faintly in the distance. The storm wasn't over yet, but for the first time Chloe understood. She wasn't a victim, she was the proof. She looked out the window at the rising sun, her reflection merging with the light. "Then I'll finish what he started." The city of Boston was waking up when Chloe stepped into the rain again. Not running, not hiding, but walking with purpose. The flash drive was now duplicated, encrypted, and sent to every journalist Erin knew. There was no going back. She wore Michael's beige trench coat, the same one left folded in his suitcase, now her armor against the storm. Each step echoed with the weight of everything she had learned. The lies, the lost lives, the truth she now carried for both of them. Across town, news stations began to buzz. Screens lit up in cafes and subway platforms, headlines flashing in bold red. Rexon Biotech exposed, leaked data reveals, cover-up of deadly clinical trials. Inside Erin's office, Chloe watched the broadcast in silence. They played Michael's final message, a video he had recorded days before his death, never meant for the public, but now echoing across the nation. "To those who believed in Rexon, I owe you the truth. We promised to heal, but we sold hope as a weapon. I take responsibility for what was buried, and for the lives lost in the shadows of progress. The woman who helped bring this to light, she is the proof that life cannot be owned, controlled, or hidden. Her name is Chloe Harris." Her breath caught. The room felt suddenly too small. Tears blurred her vision, but she didn't look away. For the first time, the world was seeing Michael not as a millionaire CEO, but as a man who had finally chosen to be human. Outside, sirens wailed again, but this time they weren't coming for her. They were heading to Rexon's headquarters, where arrests were already being made. The empire was falling. Erin turned to her. "You did it." Chloe shook her head softly. "We did it. He did it." For a moment, silence filled the room, the kind that feels like peace, not fear. That night, she returned to her small apartment in Chicago. The street was quiet, washed clean by rain. She placed the suitcase, now empty, in her closet. It no longer carried secrets, just memories. She sat by the window where this nightmare had begun, watching the city lights flicker against the glass. A faint smile tugged at her lips as she whispered to herself, "You kept your promise, Michael." A knock on the door startled her. When she opened it, Mia stood there, tears in her eyes and a small smile trembling on her lips. "I saw the news," she said. "You were brave." Chloe exhaled, finally letting the tears fall. "I was terrified." Mia hugged her tightly. "That's what bravery looks like." They stood there for a long time, just breathing, as thunder rolled faintly in the distance. Weeks later, Chloe visited Michael's grave on a quiet hill overlooking Lake Michigan. The wind carried the scent of rain and fresh grass. She placed a single white rose on the stone, her fingers tracing the engraved name, Michael Lawson. The truth lives beyond fear. "I never got to thank you," she whispered, "but I will spend the rest of my life honoring what you gave me. A second chance to live honestly." The clouds parted, letting a shard of sunlight break through, golden and soft. Chloe closed her eyes and smiled faintly. Somewhere deep inside, she felt him there, not as a ghost, but as peace. As she walked away, her reflection shimmered in a puddle beside the grave. The woman looking back wasn't the frightened cleaning lady who once grabbed the wrong suitcase. She was the survivor of a secret that had almost killed her, and the keeper of a truth that changed the world. The wind picked up, carrying her whisper into the open sky. For you, and for every life that mattered. And as the rain began again, Chloe Harris didn't hide her face. She lifted it toward the storm, unafraid, alive and free. Sometimes life places the truth in the hands of those who least expect it. Chloe began as a poor maid, invisible to the world, but her courage gave voice to the voiceless and light to what was hidden. And Michael Lawson, the millionaire CEO who once lived behind power and pride, found redemption not in wealth, but in sacrifice. In the end, dignity outlived deceit. And love, even the silent kind that asks for nothing in return, proved stronger than fear. Thank you for staying with us until the end of this heart-touching story. Tell us in the comments which part moved you the most. Subscribe and turn on the bell to receive more stories that inspire and transform. Leave a like if you believe in the invisible strength of dignity and family. And above all, thank you for being part of this community that believes in stories with soul. And before you go, watch the story I leave here on the left. I'm sure it will also move you and make you reflect.